Hey everybody, and welcome back to Sip and Talk. We're going on a wild ride today, exploring the minds of those who love to gamble. You know, the go big or go broke thrill seekers.
It's a fascinating world, isn't it? Where logic and odds often take a backseat to gut feelings and the allure of a life-changing win.
Yeah, and we're diving deep into that world today, trying to figure out what drives those risk takers.
Yeah.
And whether that gamble, in whatever form it takes, is ever truly worth it. You know, I was scrolling through the news the other day and saw this headline about a guy who won millions in Vegas. The whole 9 yards, private jets, champagne showers, the works.
Yes, the classic rags to riches story. It's a tale as old as time, and it continues to capture our imaginations.
Right. But then just a few clicks away, there was this article about the dark side of gambling, the addiction, the financial ruin. It got me thinking, are we all just wired to chase that dream, even if it means risking everything?
Well, let's unpack this. We've got a whole stack of research articles and even some real-life stories to help us understand this gambler's mindset.
Okay, so first things first. Why are we so obsessed with getting rich quick? I mean, everyone seems to be looking for that shortcut to success these days, whether it's buying lottery tickets, trying to time the stock market, or even just falling for those make money online schemes.
It's the allure of the big win, isn't it? That fantasy of overnight riches, of escaping the daily grind and living a life of luxury. It's a powerful motivator, especially in a world where we're constantly bombarded with images of wealth and success.
Totally. It's like everyone's looking for that magic formula, that one lucky break that will change their lives forever. But here's the thing that really blew my mind. There's actually a biological component to this. We came across a study that showed people get an actual rush from gambling, regardless of whether they win or lose.
It's true. Think about it. The anticipation, the uncertainty, the sudden burst of excitement when the dice roll or the cards are revealed, our brains are wired to respond to those stimuli, releasing dopamine and other feel-good chemicals.
So it's like a roller coaster ride for your brain.
Exactly. And for some people, that rush becomes addictive. They crave that feeling, that surge of excitement, even if it comes at a cost.
Speaking of cost, remember that story about the Wall Street executive who gambled away $100 million? I mean, even when the stakes are that high, some people just can't resist the allure of the game.
It's a cautionary tale for sure, and it highlights a crucial point. While there may be a biological component to risk-taking, there's also a psychological element at play. It's about more than just the thrill. It's about control, about the illusion of mastering chance.
Right, like that feeling of, I can beat the odds, I can outsmart the system.
Exactly. And that belief, whether it's conscious or subconscious, can be incredibly dangerous.
Okay, so we've got the allure of the big win, the biological rush, the psychological need for control. But what about the odds? I mean, let's be real here. Most people who gamble don't end up winning millions, do they?
That's where the cold, hard statistics come in, and they're not pretty. One of the articles we read mentioned that gambling win rates are usually below 5%, and for those dabbling in high-leverage investments, a whopping 90% lose big within a year.
Ouch. Those are some serious numbers. But wait, what about those stories of billionaires like Soros or Musk? Those guys took massive risks and came out on top. Doesn't that prove it can be done?
They're definitely outliers, the exceptions that prove the rule. It's tempting to look at their success and think, if they can do it, so can I. But remember, for every Soros or Musk, there are countless others who took similar risks and ended up bankrupt or worse.
So it's more like winning the lottery than a sound financial strategy.
Exactly. And even when it comes to the lottery, the odds of winning are astronomically small.
All right, fair point. But let's say you do take that gamble and you lose. What's the real cost? I mean, beyond the obvious financial hit, what are the long-term consequences?
That's where things get really serious, because we're not just talking about losing money, we're talking about the potential for devastating consequences that ripple through every aspect of your life.
Like what? Give me some specifics.
Well, we found this heartbreaking story from a BBC article about an Asian tech executive who committed suicide due to spiraling gambling debts.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
It is, and it highlights the fact that the cost of losing goes far beyond just money. We're talking about crippling debt, psychological stress, damaged relationships, and in extreme cases, even the loss of life.
The article also mentioned something called loss thresholds. Basically, people set limits for themselves. But then the excitement of the game takes over, and they end up chasing their losses, digging themselves deeper and deeper into a hole.
It's a classic example of how emotions can override logic, especially in high-stakes situations. The desire to win back what you've lost, to prove you're not a loser, can be incredibly powerful.
And once you're in that hole, it's incredibly difficult to climb back out.
Yeah, exactly. The financial burden, the emotional toll, the social stigma, it's a heavy weight to carry. And it can have a devastating impact on your mental health, your relationships, your entire life.
So what's the alternative? Is there a safer path to success, one that doesn't involve risking everything on a roll of the dice or a swing of the stock market?
There are no guarantees in life. There are certainly approaches that offer a more balanced risk-reward ratio.
Okay, all ears tell me there's hope for those of us who aren't cut out for the high-stakes life.
Well, for starters, there's the good old-fashioned approach of slow and steady growth. Think long-term investments, diversifying your portfolio, building a solid foundation for your financial future.
Yeah, that's what my financial advisor keeps telling me. But it's not exactly as exciting as hitting the jackpot, is it? I mean, where's the thrill in watching your savings grow a few percentage points each year?
True. It may not have the same adrenaline rush as a big win at the casino. But remember that study we talked about earlier, the one about the biological rush of gambling? Well, there's a flip side to that coin.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It turns out that losing actually increases the thrill of winning. The study showed that people who consistently lost got a bigger dopamine hit from a small win than those who are winning consistently.
So in a twisted way, losing makes you crave winning even more.
Exactly. It feeds into that cycle of risk-taking and chasing the elusive high, which brings us back to a fundamental question. Is the gambler's mindset ultimately about the thrill of the game itself rather than the actual outcome?
That's a good point. So even if we strip away the money, the fancy cars, the private islands, there's still something inherently alluring about taking risks.
It seems so, and perhaps that's a reflection of our innate human desire to push boundaries, to test our limits, to seek out new experiences, even if they come with a certain level of danger.
Maybe it's that element of uncertainty, the not knowing what's going to happen next, that keeps us hooked.
Precisely. And while that drive to explore the unknown can lead to incredible innovation and progress, it's crucial to be aware of the potential pitfalls.
Which is exactly why we do these deep dives, right? To get people thinking, to explore different perspectives, and maybe even challenge some of their own assumptions.
Absolutely. Because knowledge is power, and the more we understand about ourselves and the world around us, the better equipped we are to navigate the complexities of life, including those risky impulses that whisper, go big or go broke.
Well said. Speaking of navigating complexities, let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something a little less risky, though maybe just as exciting.
Oh, I do love a good plot twist. What you got up your sleeve?
Well, I was thinking about all the amazing experiences out there that don't involve betting your life savings, like traveling to new places, trying different foods, exploring new cultures.
Sounds like a much more enjoyable and sustainable form of risk-taking. And speaking of which, have you checked out our friend Micky's YouTube channel lately?
Mickeytolife, of course. His travel vlogs are fantastic, and his whiskey reviews are, well, let's just say they're quite educational.
Haha, I know what you mean. He's got a knack for making even the most complex flavors sound interesting.
He really does, and his passion for exploring different cultures is contagious.
Absolutely. So if you're looking for a way to expand your horizons without risking financial ruin, be sure to check out Mickeytolife on YouTube.
A great recommendation. And with that, I believe we've reached the end of part 1 of our deep dive. But fear not, dear listeners, we'll be back soon with part 2, where we'll delve even deeper into the psychology of risk-taking and explore some fascinating real-life stories.
Welcome back, deep divers. We're in the thick of it now, exploring the intricate world of the gambler's mindset.
Right, and it's not just about the financial hit.
Yeah.
It's the emotional roller coaster, the strain on relationships, and the potential for serious damage to mental health. I mean, we can't forget that story about the tech executive who took his own life because of gambling debts.
Absolutely. It's a stark reminder that for some people, the allure of the game, that desperate chase for a win, can become all-consuming.
Yeah.
It's like they get trapped in a cycle of risk and reward that becomes impossible to break free from.
And we talked about those loss thresholds, how people set limits. But the heat of the moment, the emotional intensity, can just blow those limits right out of the water.
Exactly. And it's in those moments that logic takes a backseat to the raw, visceral desire to win back what's been lost.
Wow.
It's like the brain gets hijacked by this primal urge to chase the reward, even when the odds are clearly stacked against you.
It's almost like we're wired to crave that risk, that uncertainty. Like maybe it's part of our evolutionary heritage, you know? Back in the caveman days, taking risk was essential for survival hunting. Dangerous prey, exploring new territories, all that stuff.
That's an interesting perspective, and there might be some truth to it. After all, our brains haven't changed all that much in the past few thousand years.
Right. We're still driven by those same primal instincts, even if the context is shifted.
So maybe the urge to gamble, to take risks, it's not inherently bad. It's just that in today's world, those impulses can manifest in ways that are, well, let's just say less beneficial for our overall well-being.
Precisely. The key then is to find ways to channel those instincts that drive to push boundaries into activities that are both fulfilling and, well, less likely to lead to financial ruin.
Okay, so how do we do that? How do we harness that inner gambler, that craving for risk and reward, and direct it towards something more, let's say, productive?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that these impulses are natural.
Okay.
That they're part of what makes us human.
Yeah.
It's not about suppressing them entirely, but rather about finding healthy outlets for their expression.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Think about activities that involve challenge, strategy, and a degree of uncertainty, but without the financial stakes of gambling. Okay, I'm thinking starting a business. That definitely involves risk and requires strategic thinking, but you're not literally putting your life savings on the line.
Exactly. Or how about learning a new skill like rock climbing or coding? There's an element of risk there, the potential for failure, but also the thrill of mastering something new, of pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone.
And let's not forget about the world of creative pursuits.
Right.
Writing a novel, composing a song, painting a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Those all involve taking creative risks and putting yourself out there, but without the same financial pitfalls as traditional gambling.
Absolutely. The key is to find activities that light your fire, that ignite your passion and challenge you to grow without putting your financial stability or well-being at risk.
So it's about channeling that gambler's energy into something that's both personally fulfilling and hopefully beneficial for the world around us.
Exactly. It's about finding that sweet spot where risk becomes a catalyst for growth rather than a path to destruction. But it's also important to remember that society plays a role in shaping our attitudes towards risk and reward.
Wait, you're telling me it's not all on us?
Yeah.
That maybe there are external forces at play that influence our gambling habits?
Absolutely. Think about how gambling is often portrayed in movies and TV shows, for example.
Yeah.
It's all glitz and glamour.
Okay.
High rollers, winning big, living the dream life.
Yeah, like in those casino scenes where everyone's dressed to the nines, sipping champagne and raking in chips like it's nothing.
Exactly. And those images, those narratives can be incredibly persuasive, especially for people who are feeling vulnerable, disillusioned, or simply looking for an escape from their everyday lives.
So it's like we're being bombarded with this message that says, hey, take a risk, you could be a winner too.
Right.
But what they don't show you are the countless stories of people who lost everything.
Yeah.
Whose lives were ruined by gambling addiction.
Right, and that's where the danger lies, because those romanticized portrayals of gambling can create a distorted view of reality, masking the very real risks and potential consequences.
So it's not just about individual responsibility then. It's about the messages we're receiving from the world around us.
Yeah.
The stories we're being told about what it means to be successful, to take risks, to live a fulfilling life.
Precisely. And that brings us to a really interesting question. What role does society play in either fueling or mitigating this gambler's mindset?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So are we saying it's a collective responsibility? Like, are we all complicit in creating this culture of risk-taking and instant gratification?
Well, it's definitely a complex issue with no easy answers, but I think it's important to acknowledge that our attitudes towards risk and reward are shaped by a multitude of factors, both individual and societal.
So where does that leave us? I mean, if we're all being influenced by these external forces, these societal messages, how can we make informed choices about risk-taking?
I think it starts with awareness, being aware of the messages we're receiving, the narratives that are being presented to us, and questioning those narratives, challenging those assumptions.
It's wild, right? Like we're constantly being influenced even when we don't realize it. And it's not just about gambling either. It's like with everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Like advertising, social media, even the news we consume, it all shapes how we view the world and how we make decisions.
Totally. And speaking of decisions, it's time for us to make one and wrap up this deep dive. But before we do, I just got to say, this whole exploration of the gambler's mindset has really got me thinking. It's like, on the one hand, you have this allure of the big win, the excitement of taking risks.
Right, that rush of adrenaline.
Yeah, exactly. But on the other hand, there's this dark side, this potential for addiction, financial ruin, and just straight-up heartbreak.
It's a delicate balance, isn't it? That line between healthy risk-taking and recklessness.
And I think what we've learned here is that it's not just about individual choices. It's about recognizing those external forces, those societal messages that shape our behavior.
Absolutely. And being critical thinkers, questioning those messages, not just blindly accepting what we're told.
Right. It's about being informed, being aware of the risks, and making conscious choices about where we're willing to gamble, whether it's with our money, our time, or even our hearts.
I love that, because ultimately it's about finding that sweet spot where we're pushing our boundaries, exploring new possibilities, but doing so in a way that's sustainable and doesn't jeopardize our well-being.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with this thought. How can we channel that gambler's energy, that drive to explore the unknown into something that's both fulfilling and, a little less risky than betting the farm on a horse race?
Great question. And, it might sound cheesy, but I truly believe there are countless ways to gamble on life in a positive way. Invest in your passions, pursue your dreams, step outside your comfort zone, and embrace new experiences. Who knows what amazing rewards might be waiting for you just around the corner.
Love that. A little optimism never hurt anyone. And speaking of embracing new experiences, don't forget to check out our friend Micky's YouTube channel, Mickeytolife. He's always got something exciting going on, whether he's traveling to exotic locations, trying out new whiskeys, or just sharing his unique perspective on life. It's a great way to expand your horizons without any of the risk we've been talking about today.
Absolutely. So until next time, folks, stay curious, stay informed, and remember to gamble responsibly. On life.
Cheers to that. See you on the next Deep Dive.